Alrighty then, Ethereal here, and I'm going to try something slightly different. In this case, I'm actually live talking what I'm going through. I wanted to show my build, as this was asked once or twice, what sort of build I use, which is really the generic Trapper Ranger build, but I'll go through it anyway. So we're starting with my current gear. I'm at 2.7k eye level, as you can see. I ended up maxing Dex and Wisdom. When I originally rolled the character, I wasn't the most intelligent of people, so I actually picked the wrong ability scores, where I ended up with a higher strength than I really felt I needed to, as I personally prefer the Dex and Wisdom build. But you deal with what you got to deal with. I am running around in the upgraded Tier 2 PvP gear over the PvE gear, and that's mostly because I PvP more than PvE. As you can see, I went for the Lost Mouth set. I went for the higher crit build. So in all my offense slots, I'm pretty much running... Let's see, that's not offense. That's defense. Where's my offense slots? Right. I'm mostly running crit enchantments, and I just got rank 7s. And of course, I'm using a Vorpal since I went with the crit build. Dragon's Horde enchantments on utility. I mean, utility is utility. Nobody really cares about it. Defense enchantments, I tend to use mostly the Dark enchantment because I want the extra lifesteal. I believe I have a couple of... Nope, I'm running all of them. I'm using Negation as my armor enchant, but again, that's because I PvP. If I was PvEing more often, I'd definitely be using Soulforge. Well, it's just extraordinarily useful. My artifacts are, for my overload slots, I pretty much always use one for the, I either use the Greater Black Dragon ones or the Icewind Dale crit ones, along with generally one of the lifesteal bonus ones. Although sometimes I'll also swap that out for the Black Dragon, which I would definitely say the Black Dragon is the best of the three, but sometimes you just don't have them. And they only last 2 hours versus the other 8. Using 2 personalized Rings of Piercing. Again, I'm running Crit and Lifesteal in them. Yeah, so that's what I'm running with that. For my artifacts, obviously, I've got a Lost Mouse Horn for the set. And I tend to use it for the damage, although sometimes I switch it out for my Thayan Book of the Dead, which... Honestly, that was just sheer luck. That was, back when they first released, I bought, like, 2 enchanted keys and got one of those. I do think it's a very good artifact. I mean, HRs are flooded with armor pen on our gear, so the armor pen's not as big a deal. I have capped it. But, at the same time, the crit is very nice. The action point gain's okay, but... I definitely like the large amount of crit we get. For a defensive artifact, I'm currently using an Eye of Lathander, mostly for the lifesteal bonus. I'd switch it out for something better, but I haven't quite decided what I want, and I haven't decided how I'm going to go get it. And then you have the Vanguard's banner, and I did that because, personally, I'm happy with all 3 of the stats that gives. Sometimes in PvP, I'll be using that over the Horn of Blasting because it's an extremely nice... bonus, I'm currently ready to upgrade it, but, you know, Greater Marks of Potency is so frickin' expensive. We'll go to boons now. For Sharandar, I'm running through, Power, Crit, HP, the extra damage on this, and Faith Thistle. The reason I'm using Faith Thistle is namely Force Meditation. And I'll get into that later, but when I'm PvPing, I mean, come on. That's 100% deflect chance. So I just always backlash that. I mean, it's only 3,000 damage, but I have watched a lot of squishy people kill themselves on it, and that was funny. Dread Ring, I picked 250 crit and movement, the extra lifesteal. I didn't really need more armor pens, so I'm kind of like, whatever, I'll take the deflect chance. In this case, I took the more defensive route with the Enraged Regrowth. On this one, only because I felt like I needed the more defense, but sometimes I really am contemplating swapping out for the Shadow Touch. And then I chose Endless Consumption, and again, that mostly was to do with the PvP concept. But at the same time, a lot of times I really contemplate going back to Madness, only because I would definitely suggest Madness for dungeons over endless consumption. And when it comes to PvP, I'd put them fairly even, but I would definitely suggest Madness over that. The buff is just too amazing. Honestly, neither of these is really that great in Icewind Dale, so I just went with the AoE resist. Again, I wasn't as happy with these. I feel like I have enough stamina gain. I really do. Crit severity, I definitely think was better going with a higher crit build. And again, you know, you've got Cold Shoulder, and I don't know. While I am often missing a lot of stamina or guard, I really thought that the Cold Shoulder was better, again, because I PvP more. Avalanche, definitely, I think, the most useful of the four buffs for the Hunter Ranger. That's just my opinion, but I think it's pretty nice comparatively, because none of the others really seem that great. Tyrannies of Dragons, as you've noticed, I have not finished it, because farming Linu's Favor is a pain in the ass. But I ended up going with the extra hit points, because the power was okay, but I picked the hit points. Crit, again, I didn't need the armor pen, so I went with the defense. Lifesteal, the regen's not that great. If I had it finished, I would probably put one more in Dragon's Thirst, because 3% is a huge bonus, but it's comparatively, and probably put the, I'd probably go 2 into Dragon's Fury, and 1 into Dragon's Thirst, personally. I haven't finished the PvP campaign, mostly because Icewind Dale's hard to get half the things from, so or rather because, well, there's a lot to do it. I am so far along in it, you know, I don't have a lot in Icewind Dale. I've almost gotten the 7 from Domination, as you can see, but still have quite a bit more before I get to that one. Oh dear, closed out my boons again. Sorry, my bad. That was powers, what am I thinking? So I took Legion's Valor and Vanguard's Resolve for that, and I'll end up, definitely Wicked Assault is what I plan on taking when I get that finished. Now we'll go to the feats, the thing that's pretty much... Now this build is pretty much exactly the same for both dungeons and PvP. Wow, I can't speak. It's the basic Trapper build. There's really nothing special to it, you know. Crit chance, extra HP, the bonus damage from switching stances, because you always are. That's just to fill out points. You know, encounter power, bonus damage. Deflection chance was kind of like, meh, just figured I'd take it again as to fill out the points. And then, of course, bonus damage from dex. And then we get into the important parts where I don't think Readied Stance is that great. Comparatively, I prefer the extra bonus movement speed. Death Strikes, of course, this is a great power. I never use the slashers thing, so it's like, what's the point? Trapper's Cunning, you know, applying the extra root is nice, but that one right there could easily be switched out for, which is the one ability I'm looking for. Really easily be switched out for anything else from another one. This one's just okay. Forest Bond, of course, an excellent power. Now these two together can really make it so that you are always using encounter powers. It's like you're playing a piano. You never use your at-wills, basically. Of course, Ancient Roots, bonusing the Grasping Roots time frame. This is both useful for soloing and for PvP, along with actually very useful for dungeons except for boss fights, but it's really great for controlling adds. Hunter Rangers and dungeons are extremely useful for controlling adds, especially if you did pick up Crushing Roots, which I'll get into that in a minute. Swiftness of the Fox, of course, that's pretty much a guarantee. You need to keep reducing. Thorned Roots, again, no-brainer. You want that for that huge amount of bonus damage that it gives. It's definitely an insane amount of damage. Serpent's Bite, well, when you take this, Aspect of the Serpent never leaves your bar, ever. And it was broken for a while, but they did fix it, and it's extremely powerful now. And of course, you know, you're taking Biting Snares at the end, because those stand shifts, you are dailying every, like, 3 rotations through. You are always using that daily. And then we'll get into powers, and I'll talk about that. Most of these are just filled in, you know, because I need them. The powers that I actually use, Rapid Shot and Rapid Strike is just there as kind of a filler when I need it, which is very rarely. I am very seldom using these, but they're there. Seismic Shot is the highest damage daily, I believe, for Hunter Rangers, and therefore for dungeons, of course, what you see down on my bar right now is my dungeon build, because I haven't been PvPing as much lately, and Seismic Shot is definitely it. Now, when PvPing, I actually switch Coordinate Arrows out for Hindering Shot and Hindering Strike, which, because you never land Coordinate Arrows in PvP. Like, it's nigh on impossible, and the, what's it called? The melee version just never, it doesn't trigger Grasping Roots or Thorned Roots or anything, which makes it, in my opinion, nigh useless for that. But it is the highest damage encounter we have. That's why it's great for dungeons when you know where the mobs are going to be. But in PvP, I would be using Hindering Shot over this. And I would be using Force Meditation is in the sidebar for that reason, and I would be using Disruptive Shot instead. Sometimes in dungeons, I'll be running around with, like, Aspect of the Pack, or Aspect of the Lone Wolf instead for, of Crushing Roots. But oftentimes I leave Crushing Roots in, because against ads, it's just very useful. Even on a boss fight, as long as there are ads. It's not very useful against Lostmouth, as he's a single-target boss, but against anything that summons a lot of ads, What's-Her-Face in Epic Temple, the Spider, it is actually a very powerful ability. Constricting Arrow pretty much never leaves my bar. It's a very high damage, it's very useful, hits a bunch of targets. Aspect of the Serpent, again, never leaves my bar. The bonus damage that you get between that and the feat is insane. It alone accounts for like 20% of my damage at my last time I checked. This is just here again as a filler to get in. And now, Careful Attack, I was an idiot for the longest time and never realized exactly how powerful it is. Careful Attack you always want to apply as often as possible. Or, well, you want to keep it up. Now, I really cannot tell, because these tooltips are not clear, how long this lasts. It doesn't say how long the debuff actually lasts. And this bothers me. But you've got, when you max it out, there's plus 15 seconds right there. And I'm assuming, I go with the assumption that the debuff is 5 seconds by default. So, my view on it is, it clearly is about a 20-second debuff. Which, when you're running through, when you're running through your rotations, I say that takes about 4 rotations. So Hunter's Teamwork also is something that never really leaves my bar. Although I often use... I'll use Hunter's Teamwork on a boss and on any main target to debuff them and slightly reduce their damage. It's not much of a damage reduction, but hey, every little bit can help. Disruptive Shot, again, PvP, I run through it. I only have, like 4 bonus power points so far, and ever since they killed Overflow XP, I haven't seen another one in, like, forever. But, Disruptive Shot, of course, for PvP is what replaces Seismic Shot for me. Sometimes I was experimenting with Binding Arrow over Fox's Shift and, or Fox's Cunning in, PvP, and it was useful. I mean, extra strong Grasping Roots, which meant I felt it was higher damage in the end, but at the same time, I think Fox's Cunning is more useful, especially with, like, you can dodge some seriously painful moves with that. When you dodge a Shocking Execution, you can't help but giggle. You can't help, although I'm certain that that rogue is very unhappy when that happens. Sorry, rogues. I have this, and I used it for a bit until I realized that, yeah, this is so broken. Something's wrong with this. This needs fixed. No, like, you just ridiculous. Gushing Wound definitely needs fixed, so I personally do not use it because it's broken. I maxed out Crushing Roots, of course, and that's because I made my PvP. If you're a PvEer, I don't think you really need to max it out. I would, but you definitely need to max out Aspect of the Serpent, that is for sure. And I do need to put more points into Coordinate Arrows and Plant Growth, as this is our highest damage encounter. This is most assuredly the best damage power we have of our encounter powers. And in fact, the melee version technically is more damage than Seismic Shot, but the root doesn't stay on that long. The root definitely does not stay on that long, so it does not get its full damage off if you're, like, doing anything. Still, though, it is definitely our highest damage encounter, and I would most assuredly say that that is what you should be running with if you're God, I can't speak English. I can't speak at all. If you're doing PvE. For the companions, I'm running, I have an augment companion, and yeah, I did splurge for the Black Dragon Ion Stone, but and long ago I had the pack. The rest of these I got off the auction house. Mostly, I picked them. The ones I currently have active are for the active bonuses. Although some of them I'm a little bit leery about. They're just out there because they are. Like I said, the Ion Stone is definitely, I would always take an Ion Stone. In my opinion, they're definitely the best companion. And you can easily, you don't need the epic one. You can easily get any of them are useful. The point of the Ion Stone is having your slots. So you can just keep giving yourself all that bonus stuff. All of these stats go straight to you. And, like, look at that. That is a huge difference in crit, power, and armor penetration when I have this guy equipped versus when I don't. Let's see. I think that's it. I'm a Pathfinder Ranger for the careful attack fact. That's why I took it. But I think that's it. And, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is everything to the video, going over my build. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll happily try to answer. And if you want to know anything else, like, well, you can see my playstyle in my videos, but I might, like, make a more commentary on my playstyle, although I feel that it's just like every other Trapper Ranger. I don't think there's much special, but you really get used to it after time. For anybody who is new to the class or new to playing that, it does... you really get used to the concept after a little bit of playing with it. It's just a very fast-paced switching between stances over and over and over and over. But yeah, so thanks for watching. And if you liked it, well, click a button, maybe leave a comment. I'd appreciate it. All right, well, thanks guys, and see you later.